Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into, well, a really dynamic topic, multimedia.
Yeah, it's evolving so fast.
We're looking at how artificial intelligence is, reshaping not just how we create and consume stuff, but maybe even how we appreciate digital content.
It's this fascinating intersection of tech and art, really. And we've looked at quite a bit of material for you today.
What have we got?
So there's a practical guide on an AI video editor, Edimakor, also some foundational stuff on what multimedia actually is,
Okay.
and some really engaging spoken commentary, adding like real-world context and anecdotes. Pretty interesting stuff.
Great. So the mission today is basically to unpack multimedia, see how tools like Edimakor are actually being used, and then think about the bigger picture.
Right, for creators, for consumers.
We'll hit the amazing convenience, but also maybe some of the pitfalls or trade-offs involved. Let's get started.
Okay, so when we say multimedia, what are we really talking about? It's more than just, a mix of files.
Right.
Fundamentally, it's blending two or more types of media. So
Wow.
words, pictures, photos, sound, animation, video, interactive bits.
All working together.
Exactly.
Right.
Enabling people and computers to interact, to share information. It's like the hidden foundation of almost everything we do online now.
So it's not just a random collection. There must be key features, right?
Yeah.
Principles that make it work well.
Absolutely. Number one, and this is critical, is synchronization.
Timing.
Yes. Imagine watching a video and the voice is like half a second behind the person speaking.
Drives me crazy.
Or think of a band trying to play online with even a tiny delay. It just completely falls apart. So sound, images, text, they have to be perfectly aligned. Desynchronization just kills the experience.
Makes total sense. What else?
Then there's integration. Multimedia isn't just separate things on a page. It needs to be, well, organically organized.
Meaning.
Meaning all the media should be saying the same thing, basically, presenting a unified message. One source had this darkly funny example.
Oh, yeah.
Funeral music playing over a birthday party video.
Okay, yeah. That's not integrated.
Not at all. The parts have to genuinely contribute to the same overall meaning. They need to work in harmony.
Got it. So sync and integration. What's next?
Interaction. This is key.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ability for you, the user, to change the content through your actions.
Like adjusting the volume or scrubbing through a video timeline.
Exactly. Or clicking buttons in an interactive piece. It makes the experience dynamic, right?
Yeah.
You're participating, not just watching passively.
And underpinning all of this is the digital aspect, I assume.
Definitely. Which brings us to digitalization. Everything's stored and processed as digital files. And this is where things get really transformative.
How so?
Well, think about cost and accessibility. One source mentioned this amazing example. 66 old-school analog hardware effects units.
Okay, like for music production.
Yeah. They would have cost over NT $6 million. That's, what, over 180,000 US dollars?
Wow.
You get all that functionality pretty much as software plugins for less than NT $10,000, like $300.
That is a staggering difference.
It's huge. Think about moving from CDs to streaming music, too. Same principle.
Yeah.
Digitalization just opened everything up.
Yeah. It really democratized things. Okay, what else?
One more key feature. Real-time processing.
Meaning instant.
Pretty much. For anything time-based, it has to happen immediately. Video conferencing is an obvious one.
Sure.
But think again about that online band practice example. Even a tiny delay, like 20 milliseconds, apparently makes it impossible to play together. If the timing isn't perfect, instantaneous, the whole thing loses its value.
It's really interesting when you break it down. These principles are working behind the scenes constantly, and everything from a quick video chat to, the latest streaming series, we just take it for granted.
We absolutely do. It's the hidden architecture. Okay, so now let's shift gears a bit. Where do all these multimedia bits and pieces actually come from?
Right, the source materials.
Traditionally, you'd, scan photos, shoot video, record audio, download assets, maybe buy stock stuff, or just make it yourself.
Required equipment, time, effort.
A fair bit, often. But now, enter the big game changer. Generative AI.
Yeah, yes. The disruptor.
Completely. AI is fundamentally changing how we source this stuff. It can generate text, images, video, even 3D models just from a text prompt.
Which makes things way faster and cheaper, I imagine.
Massively reduces cost and time. It makes multimedia production accessible to, well, almost anyone.
Sounds fantastic for creators, but I sense there's a bug coming, a potential downside.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword. The efficiency and access are amazing, no doubt. But the sources we looked at also raised some valid concerns,
Like what?
specifically about, quote, creating content. The worry is that if AI makes everything so easy, people might start, well, not caring about the value of creating art and growing their sense of beauty.
So the ease of production might devalue the appreciation of the craft.
That's the concern. If it's effortless, do we value it the same way? Could this sort of subtly lower the overall quality or depth of what's being made? Because maybe our standards shift.
That's a deep question. It's not just about what AI can do, but what effect it has on us. And I've even heard about these AI agents now
Oh, yeah.
that can supposedly design entire creative workflows just from one command, like automate the whole process.
That's next level. I mean, the goal is simplification, maximum efficiency. But it does make you wonder, right? What's the potential cost to, like, human creativity, human insight, and just our collective appreciation for skill?
Definitely food for thought. Okay, speaking of simplifying things, let's look at a concrete example. Edimakor.
Right, the AI video editor.
Yeah, one source actually started using it because their usual tool, Filmora, suddenly wasn't accessible, which is a pretty real-world problem creators face, right? Tools change, access changes.
Totally. So Edimakor, it offers a free trial, but there's a catch.
Always a catch.
Need a Google account? Fine. But it gives you just 30 points. And the source called this very stingy.
Only 30. Okay.
And apparently they get used up really quickly. Make a few mistakes experimenting with the AI features, and poof, they're gone. You have to be super careful. Or maybe even juggle Google accounts if you run out.
Wow, okay. So you're rationing your creativity from the start. How does it work? What are some of the AI features like?
Well, for starters, there's AI script generation.
Yeah.
You pick a theme, say emotional relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Then you give it a prompt, like write about empathic communication skills. Each time you ask it something or refine it, boom, points deducted. About 4 points a pop.
So you need to be concise with your requests.
You do. Then, from that script, you can move to AI video production.
Okay.
You can start fresh or use the script you just made. If you paste in the script and hit auto match for scenes, that costs more points, like 5 points.
Does it pick stock footage or something?
Yeah, it tries to find relevant visuals and, importantly, the AI voiceover feature. That also costs points, unless you turn it off.
So if you want to save points, you might need to generate the voiceover somewhere else.
Exactly. The source mentioned using free text-to-speech tools, like Ondoku, to avoid spending points on the built-in voice. It's all about these little workarounds.
Resource management. Okay, what about adding basics like subtitles or music? Do those cost points too?
Adding subtitles does. You select the audio, hit the subtitle button. It transcribes the speech to text using AI.
Pretty standard now.
Yeah, it auto-detects the language. You can translate it, display 2 languages at once. Costs about 5 points for that process.
Okay, and music.
Adding music seems more straightforward. Pick the audio function, find a track, drag it onto the timeline, adjust the length. The source recommended setting the volume lower, maybe 30%, and adding fade-ins and fade-outs for a smoother feel. Doesn't seem like basic music placement costs points, just the AI stuff.
Right, and then finally you export the whole thing.
Yep, exporting. Standard options here. MP4 format, different resolutions like 1080p, frame rates like 30fps. You can also just export the audio as an MP3 or the subtitles as an SRT file.
So after using it, what were the main takeaways, the user experience insights?
Well, the big one is basic editing functions don't cost points, but all the cool AI features do. So yeah, using external tools for scripts or voiceovers, like that Ondoku example, becomes a strategy to save those points.
Makes sense.
Also, it was noted the AI-generated scene materials, the visuals it picked, were sometimes less than ideal.
So maybe not always the best quality or most relevant?
Seems like it. Still needs work, maybe. But it's evolving. There's a digital human feature you can apparently use with apps like Douyin, that's the Chinese platform similar to TikTok.
Interesting integration.
A big plus mentioned was the one-time purchase for permanent updates. People like that model. And the expectation is more AI features will keep getting added. Oh, and it can apparently download YouTube videos directly, which is handy.
Okay.
But the bottom line currently, to really make the most of the trial and save points, you kind of need to combine it with many external software tools, and the whole process can still end up being pretty time-consuming.
So AI helps automate parts, but you still need a human strategy to weave it all together effectively, especially with these point limitations.
Exactly. Turns the user into like a resource manager as much as a creator.
Fascinating. Okay, let's zoom out from the software and talk about the hardware. The physical gear involved in multimedia production. the equipment ecosystem.
Right. At the heart of it, for pros anyway, is the multimedia computer. And this isn't your average desktop.
Needs serious power, right?
Oh yeah. Power to import, edit complex timelines, render, publish different media types. We're talking significant investment. Historically, top-end workstations could cost, well, the source mentioned, over $1 million new Taiwan dollars. That's hundreds of thousands of US dollars.
Wow. Still a big investment today, I bet.
Definitely. Then you need ways to play back the content, beyond just computer monitors.
The projector.
Digital projectors, yeah. Even those little mini projectors for smartphones are getting popular. And of course, smartphones themselves, tablets. But the really cool stuff is emerging tech, like smart glasses.
Like AR glasses? Sort of. The source mentioned the AirVision M1. Weighs only 87 grams, apparently projects what looks like a 100-inch screen,
Whoa.
and costs around NT $20,000, maybe 600, 700 US dollars. Imagine having a huge portable screen like that. It points towards really diverse ways we'll be viewing media in the future.
That's pretty wild. A 100-inch screen in your pocket.
Yeah.
Okay, what about getting stuff into the computer? Input devices.
Well, beyond the keyboard and mouse, which are basic,
Yeah.
digital drawing boards or tablets are huge for anyone doing image work, often more important than the mouse for artists.
Right, Wacom tablets and things like that.
Exactly. Touch screens are everywhere now too. Tablets, phones, some laptops, and then you have specialized controllers.
For gaming.
Gaming, sure, but also for music production, video editing. These often have customizable keys, dials, jog wheels. They let you control the software much faster and more intuitively than just clicking around.
Makes sense for complex tasks.
Yeah.
Okay, editing's done. We need to output it. What gear is critical there? Screens, obviously. Good quality, color-accurate screens. But crucially, graphics cards. GPUs.
Ah, the powerhouse.
Absolutely essential. Not just for smooth playback during editing, but for rendering the final video, and increasingly for AI computations. A good GPU can slash render times dramatically. Like, turn a coming-minute render into 2 minutes.
That's a massive time saver.
Huge. Then sound cards or audio interfaces. They handle converting analog audio to digital and back, managing inputs and outputs.
Yeah.
Professional ones can cost a fortune. And of course, printers if you need physical copies of images or text.
And audio is such a huge part of multimedia. What about specific audio equipment?
Right. You need decent microphones to capture sound clearly and accurate speakers, monitor speakers, to hear what you're actually doing when you edit the sound.
And these get expensive fast, too, I bet.
Oh, yeah. The source mentioned a classic pro microphone, the Neumann U87, costing nearly NT $100,000. That's like over 3,000 US dollars for one mic.
Yeah.
And pro monitor speakers are similar big investments. The source even talked about a friend's recording studio in Beijing. Millions of dollars worth of audio gear. It's a serious commitment at the high end.
Definitely. And for capturing visuals, video equipment?
Digital cameras, obviously, DSLRs, mirrorless cameras, cinema cameras. Also specialized stuff like 360-degree cameras, drones with cameras.
Right.
And we have to mention mobile phones again. For many people, especially for casual content, the phone camera is their primary video device. It often replaces dedicated gear.
But maybe at a cost to quality sometimes.
That's the question, isn't it? Especially if we get used to watching everything on small phone screens anyway. Do we lose our appreciation for, like, high-resolution detail?
Good point. Okay, one last hardware piece. All this media takes up space. Storage devices.
Crucial. You need fast and large storage. We're talking M.2 SSDs, which are super fast, solid-state drives, maybe RAID arrays for professionals, multiple drives working together for speed and data safety.
Because the files are huge.
Massive.
Yeah.
Especially with 4K video being standard now and 8K coming up. Slow storage becomes a major bottleneck in your workflow. You just can't work efficiently.
It really paints a picture. If you want to get serious about professional multimedia, the equipment side is, well, the source called it a bottomless pit.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
You can always spend more money on better gear in every single category.
But at the same time, as we've discussed, AI and tech advancements have made creating multimedia so much more convenient and accessible for everyday folks. You don't necessarily need all that pro gear anymore for many things.
True. The barrier to entry is much lower.
Which brings us back to that interesting tension. This convenience is amazing, but does it affect our ability to, really appreciate the quality, the artistry, the nuance in multimedia?
That's the core concern raised in the sources, yeah. This ease of creation and consumption might be subtly dulling our senses.
What do you mean?
We'll think about audio. Maybe our ears are getting less trained to pick out subtle details in a sound mix because we mostly listen on earbuds, focusing just on the main tune. We miss the complexity.
Okay, I can see that.
or visually, consuming movies primarily on small phone screens instead of big cinema screens. Does that lower our demand, our expectation for really high-resolution, detailed images over time? We might be trading quality and nuance for sheer convenience.
So there's a definite trade-off, ease of production versus maybe depth of appreciation.
It seems like it. AI can generate content super fast, yes, but it makes you question the depth of human engagement in that process, both from the creator and the consumer side. Do we understand it as well? Do we value it as much?
Which suggests that even with powerful AI tools, understanding the fundamentals, those core multimedia principles, aesthetics, how things are traditionally crafted is still really important.
I think it's crucial. That knowledge lets you guide the AI effectively. It helps you ensure that what the AI generates actually has the intended meaning, the right emotion, and isn't just technically correct but soulless output.
Yeah, using the tools wisely, not just letting them drive everything.
Exactly. Human insight guiding the machine.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. It's clear things are moving incredibly fast with AI in the multimedia space, and tools like Edimakor, despite their quirks, are definitely making creation more accessible. The landscape is really shifting.
It absolutely is. And it leaves us with a question, really. As AI keeps making multimedia creation simpler and simpler, how can you, listening right now, actively cultivate your own appreciation for quality, for artistic depth? How do you make sure convenience doesn't completely overshadow creativity and real understanding?
That's a great closing thought.
What role do you want to play? Are you going to be a passive consumer of whatever AI spits out? Or will you be an informed creator, someone who understands the art behind the algorithm? Something to think about.